And welcome back, everyone, to Who Would Win? And now we're in the week of Who Would Win. And because it's the spookiest time of the year, a lot of these Who Would Wins, not all of them, but a lot of these Who Would Wins this remaining chunk of the month. Honestly, when Who Would Win, when the weeks kind of ends, when the month, the last week of the month kind of ends where there's a full week and there's like 3 more days of the month next week, I just extend it out, lets me get through more. So a lot of them are going to be spoopy. And this one comes from Luke Morehouse, who asked the question, who would win in a fight, Alucard or Doctor Strange? Now, I should be wearing my Eye of Agamotto over there. Now, I'm not going to really bother going into Doctor Strange. Now, the reason for that is very simple. Being the Sorcerer Supreme for many, 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 many years, Doctor Strange can probably do it with enough time. This is a guy who could pop supernovas like Tic Tacs. This is a guy who can literally phase into other dimensions, spill out souls, bind you, steal you away. And the amount of things Doctor Strange is capable of doing is, think of something and the answer is yes, normally. So it's more appropriate to go over Alucard, who is, I mentioned there's an elder statesman of the Who Would Win, like last week when I talked about Pennywise and Freddy. Alucard's another one who's an elder statesman on this show. So Alucard, we know, has multiple abilities. He is, as a vampire, as the first vampire, really. Well, maybe not the first, but as a true vampire, he's actually immune to sunlight, though it does tire him out to be out during the day. He's more physically powerful than a normal human. He wields the Jackal and the Castle, which are 2 very powerful handguns that can blow individuals away. And I believe the Jackal was designed specifically for people with regenerative capabilities. He's got enhanced regeneration even normally on his own without using his #life hacks. But obviously, if we're looking beyond the standard abilities, his powers are sealed off. He has restraints on him. Hence, when he says release restraint level 1, 2, 3, and 0, it releases more of his power. This allows him to use the Hellhound, Hound of the Baskerville. His full power releases all the souls he had, which at the time of the invasion of London, it was like around 2 million-ish. So, yeah, and he can command those souls and have them just overwhelm someone. He's kind of not immortal because just the way his regeneration works, as we all know, is that he has all these souls and he's subservient to him in his possession, in his body. And if he were to take a mortal wound, that soul basically takes the hit for him and he just keeps going. Now, at the end of the series, he also had Schrodinger's abilities, but see, a lot of people say that he's unable to use Schrodinger's abilities along with his normal abilities, because in order for him to do that, he would have to, basically not be, like, supplant his own abilities to use those abilities, or vice versa. And this apparently is said by the Major as such. But right out the gate, because it's the Major that said it, I've always found that a little suspicious. I mean, just because the Major said it, the Major also thought he beat Alucard, and it turns out he didn't. So, who's really to say on that? But let's just, for the sake of argument, say that's the case. The question in this fight really just comes down to the very basic and simple question of, could Alucard actually beat Doctor Strange? Because, I'm going to tell you right now, Alucard, this is not a good matchup for Alucard. Magic is not, it's not really commonplace in the world of Hellsing. There's supernatural, sure, but magic, we see, the closer you have is Schrodinger, really, when you break it down. Although, I guess you could say that Alucard's abilities do kind of have some level of a magical quality to them. As far as, they're never described as magic. They're just described as the ability that he has. So, the fact is, Doctor Strange could literally just take Alucard out of the battle, and that's it. And send him to hell, turn him to stone. He could literally, it might take a little while, he could destroy all the souls within Alucard just with his own power alone. He could bind him. He could turn the souls against him. have him devour him from like the inside out. There's so many things Doctor Strange could do in this fight that it really would not be a good fight for Alucard. This is not. Now, Alucard would still probably be coming and firing at Doctor Strange, who would just be putting up a shield. Doctor Strange can also, by the way, just stay in the air the whole time and never once be hit by Alucard. And like Alucard doesn't have the ability to fly. They even say as much. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but this is not a good fight for Alucard at all. Now, I'm not saying it's 100% stomp in Doctor Strange's favor. Let's hypothetically, if Alucard went full on release of Straight Zero pretty early on and just had an overwhelming number of souls, Doctor Strange would be kind of put through the gambit, not gambit, but put for the ringer a little bit in terms of just trying to keep everything at bay and not having these things kill people. So yeah, ultimately, look, I think most of us would say that this would be Doctor Strange's victory. Even if you were to go into Schrödinger Alucard, who wouldn't have any other abilities except for his guns. Well, because he's everywhere and nowhere, hypothetically, he can appear right behind Doctor Strange. So if he's in the air or like has a like shield around him, he could appear in the shield so long as Doctor Strange takes his eyes off him. And if that's the case, if he just kind of puts Alucard into the ground or seals him away, but then he turns his head, Alucard can then go poof, and then just blow his brains out. Now that's assuming that his reflexes are good enough to do that. And Doctor Strange has some good reflexes. It's very possible that he could still sense Alucard's paradoxical existence, and then sense it behind. He's like, nope, and like, boom, and then again, yank his soul out or something like that, and figure out what to do with it. That is the best case scenario, I think, for Alucard. Alucard is just not a character who's designed to be taking on someone like Doctor Strange. He's as much as I love Alucard, and I root for him just about any time I see him show up. I rooted for him for Dio, but I came out on the loser end at him. So yeah, I gotta go Doctor Strange in this fight. Pretty much 100% with the Schrödinger scenario kind of eking in a little bit there. Anyway. Every once in a while, Alucard could get a win, but it had to be a well-timed win. This is only Schrödinger Alucard we're talking about. I don't know. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. But thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you folks next time.